Welcome to Break Check.
Welcome to Break Check, everybody.
I am not Ricky Bobby. I'm just wearing this because we have a guest today. This is my good friend, Brock.
Welcome.
Brock is a fan of NASCAR. And I just have one question. Brock,
What?
how dare you?
Be awesome?
I told you that question was coming.
Yeah,
I feel like you prepared yourself.
I did.
So I hear it's like the beginning of the NASCAR season. Is that correct?
Yeah, the Daytona 500's next week on Fox at 1 o'clock.
Which will be tomorrow.
Which
when
will be
this episode comes
tomorrow
out.
when you're watching this. Yeah, you got to wrap your mind around this whole future past thing.
Oh.
This will air next Saturday, which is today.
Which would be tomorrow when this comes out.
Yes.
Yeah, so tomorrow is the Daytona 500, where 498 of the laps are completely useless.
And the last two are wreck filled.
Yeah, which is why 498 are completely useless. The 500, isn't that representative of the number of laps?
Miles. It's
The
250.
miles? See? So just disclaimer, I know nothing about NASCAR because I've never been interested enough to get to know it.
Same.
Because it's just, I don't know. It's never piqued my interest. So in the spirit of the NASCAR season starting to try to maybe garner some new fans and maybe to convince us that it's even worth it, we brought Brock in, who's a really, really good friend. He's a really, really good guy. He's marrying one of my best friends in the world. So we figured we'd bring him on. Do you guys have any questions you want to start off with for Brock?
What does NASCAR stand for?
Oh,
NASCAR stands for the National Association of Stock Car Auto Racing.
nice.
What's that?
So are the cars stock?
Not at all.
Oh, all right.
Not even close.
So it's stock car racing without stock cars.
Yeah.
That's cool.
They just look like the cars on the street, but there's nothing stock about them.
So like
Okay.
the stickers that make it
Yeah.
okay.
It's just the stickers.
So I did watch a video for newbies, NASCAR for dummies, if you will. So when NASCAR started, they were stock cars, though, right? Okay.
Yeah. They
So-
were moonshine runners.
Okay.
Oh, that's right.
So the
Yeah.
story in Talladega Nights is actually true about how stock car got its start.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
interesting.
Okay.
Trying to outrun the feds.
Uh-huh.
So do you know by chance when they went from using stock cars to using completely modified, like not stock at all cars?
Like RC car bodies.
That's pretty much what they are, honestly. I think like 1989,
Okay, so it's been a while.
late 80s.
Okay, so they've been using like modified cars for
Yeah.
quite some time. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Jason and I are like, we have a lot of passion for like manual transmissions and just like the sort of like the artistry of a vehicle. Like people just look at cars. A lot of people just look at them like Jen thinks Priuses are cool.
No, the Prius Prime. Thank you very much.
It's a Prius.
Is
it a Prius?
Pretty.
Are you with me on
It's
this?
a Prius.
It's not that bad of a looking car.
You know what I'm dealing with? This guy's blood related to me, and he's like, Prius is not that bad of a car.
I hated
Yeah.
the original Prius.
Brock, I'm going to
but
talk to somebody with some sense right now.
Wow. Guess we're on our own over here.
I'll just be over here. Excuse me.
How dare we like a Prius?
I don't know. But so a lot of people who are not car enthusiasts, they have a hard time understanding why people are so passionate about cars. And so we try to explain it to them, and like driving a manual transmission, like being a part of the car makes it so much more enjoyable to drive it. While as most people in the public nowadays, they're just like, I just want a vehicle to get me A to B. I don't care as long as it gets me there. I don't want to be part of the car.
Right.
So what is it that makes like NASCAR such a passionate thing for you? Like what is it that it's like for me, like football, I'm like, oh, baseball, like I bleed baseball. So what is it that makes you bleed NASCAR?
It's just fun to watch, and I think it's one of those things where you have to go and actually watch it because you don't really get all the like sensations that you do at the racetrack, like the smell of the gas, the rumble of the engines, and just the entire environment is just something that's unmatched in any other sport.
What's the average length of a NASCAR race?
3 hours, 3.5.
So
About the length of a football game, then.
yeah,
Okay.
football, baseball games are about 2.5 hours. So
Okay.
and you get that sensation the whole time that you're there.
Oh yeah, it don't feel like 3.5 hours. It feels like it goes by really quick.
So if you just want like that rumble of the motor and those sounds for a solid 3 hours.
Yeah.
So it to me it kind of gives me the idea like maybe it's a drag race where there's no sounds between, like there's no breaks between the sound of the motors. It's just a consistent
It's a
running of the engine.
Consistent.
Yeah, like full throttle,
Uh-huh.
all the time.
Oh yeah, all the time.
I will say, like, so I made the claim last week that I didn't understand the point of going to like a football game because you can get closer, a better view from the camera, from like watching on your TV. I will say that I've been to racetracks and stuff, and I agree with you. There's a different feeling. I've been to sports games, not like a Super Bowl, but when you're there, all you really smell is beer. Like at like a sports game, in my opinion.
Beer and urine.
Yeah.
Go.
But when you're at a racetrack, though, like you said, you hear the engine, you smell the gas and the rubber of the tires and all that stuff. It is a more visceral experience, I guess, and you could say in a way.
That's
Yeah.
the word of the day right there.
Right? Word of the day.
We're not good at wording,
Oh,
Yeah.
that's fine. I'm not either.
so
Yeah.
you fit right in.
Words are heard.
Words are heard.
I heard.
That's
I-
part of how to be a brake checker.
Had to be brake checker.
Yeah. Be good at words.
Be good at words. I think the other thing about NASCAR too, I think the biggest, at least when I was basically forced to watch it, I dated somebody who
Are your
loved
parents NASCAR people?
No, an ex of mine, he watched NASCAR like all the time, loved it. But I watched like the history of NASCAR and stuff like that, and what it became was like kind of incredible, like what people had to go through just to get their moonshine, just to be able to do the racing and all that kind of stuff. And then like of like the bigger drivers and stuff like that, like Dale Earnhardt, like I watched a movie about him and like what he went through to be able to become where he was at. And I'm like, okay, you feel that passion for the individuals and you want to support them and you want to support the story. You just want to support the history of NASCAR. And I think that's the other reason why some people just have that passion with NASCAR.
I think people
as well.
that hate it.
They don't
And
understand it as much, maybe.
Yeah, I
don't
put
know.
like a lot of like hate and make fun of it a lot, but like on a like deep level, like a serious level, there is a level of commitment like that people don't understand when it comes to like you have to be so physically fit in order to
Oh, gosh, yeah.
last that endurance, like 500 miles. That's insane in a
The
car going that speed.
the
to
G-forces that it
maintain
put
that
on your body.
focus for that long. At what's the average speed?
It used to be 200, but they've done a lot to reduce the horsepower, which sucks. They used to be like 800 horsepower. I think they're like 550 now.
Oh,
Really?
wow.
Yeah,
What?
it's
Why would they have done that? Like, there was a reason?
safety.
Okay.
Isn't like the whole fun of
Safety.
NASCAR?
Yeah.
Is
Right.
that like the
Is the
wrecks
risk
and like
of
the
it?
the
Right.
risk?
That takes away from the history of it was all risk. I mean, you're breaking the law of running moonshine.
Yeah.
It makes
Yeah.
the racing not as good either because they're
But-
not going as fast.
But even at 550 horsepower, you're probably running what 170,
Yeah.
180.
180, yeah.
To be running that speed for that long of a time without getting out of the car, within less than an inch of other cars, like it's gonna take a lot of focus and a lot of discipline and a lot of physical strength to just maintain that position. Like
Yeah.
think about people on the freeway; they can't go down at 60 miles an hour without crossing over lanes when they have like 3 feet on either side of them.
Right?
Can't pay attention for more than like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
my
I mean,
bladder
there
would
there
not
is
last
a
that long.
there is a level of respect. I'll give you that to what the drivers have to go through, and then the history of it, knowing more than just the superficial, generic. I'm just watching cars go around. Like if you actually look into it, I'm sure there's a whole lot that you could connect to.
Yeah.
And I think, isn't there like a lot of like science and stuff that goes into the vehicles as well?
There's so much technology and like
Yeah.
research and development that the teams go through.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I thought too.
I saw something like I don't know. I can't remember if it was a documentary or just a generic video, but somebody was talking about the absolutely ridiculous rules that they have to follow as far as like I think it was, if I remember right, like the position of an oil cooler was like an eighth of an inch off, and so they were disqualified from the race.
Yeah, you have to go through inspection.
Something like
Oh, wow.
stupid.
See, I would expect that from like Formula One, where like it's like so strict, but I didn't think NASCAR was so strict.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
Interesting.
if one of your parts is like that much off and you win the race, you're done. They take the win away from you.
Why?
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's something else. Okay.
Crazy.
I've never understood, and I still don't, so maybe you can clear this up. How does the whole, because I've seen people not win races, but win the season? Is it like a point system?
It's the point season.
How does that work?
That's a good one. I don't even know how that works. That's too complicated for me.
It's because it gives me like soccer vibes. Like you can tie, lose, win. There's no time limit in soccer. Like what's the point of even playing? So I'm like the only thing I could wrap my mind around is I try to think of it like I used to coach baseball, Little League, and you would have a points tournament. So depending on your place at the end of like individual rounds of gameplay, depending on where, if you finished first, second, third, you would get a certain number of points. In the second round, you get a number of points on your placement. Whoever has the most accumulated points at the ends would win.
That's kind of how it works. But there's a regular season champion, and then there's a whole. They go into the playoffs, which is 16 races, and then the actual champion is determined off of that. The regular season champion just gives you, I think it's 20 playoff points.
Oh, towards the playoffs.
20 points toward the playoffs.
Okay.
And then the way the playoffs works is there's 3 races in every round. After those 3 races, the bottom 4 drivers are eliminated. And then...
Like Squid Games, do they get shot?
Oh no!
Blow up the car.
I hear eliminated. That's what I'm
Blow
like.
up the car.
I've
Yeah.
never watched Squid Game, so I don't
You
know.
never seen Squid Games?
No.
Oh,
They
it's a
play
good show.
they play childish games, and when you lose, you get killed.
Yeah.
Die.
You don't just lose, you lose.
Once you get eliminated, you can still race on every week.
Okay.
You just can't win the championship.
So when you're eliminated, but you're still allowed to race.
Points wise, you're eliminated, but you can still race. Yeah.
So
See,
you
that
can-
would be me. I would want to get eliminated and then try to wreck everybody that's still in it. Like, I'm not in it, and neither are you, buddy.
But,
Bam!
But you can still. So if you're eliminated and you win that race, like, does that mean anything?
You're still a
or-
winner of the race, and you still get points for it, but it's not towards the championship.
Okay, so what if you get eliminated early on, but then you get so many points that you have more points than the person in the championship that wins the
The
championship?
playoff championship.
Yeah, that would be an interesting scenario.
You just don't get the
Guess
pop
what?
of
You still
champagne
don't
bottle.
win.
You still don't get the trophy.
so I need to become a NASCAR
Wow.
driver and then lose like immediately, get eliminated, and then win every other race after that and see what happens.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I can totally do that. It's
You can
fine,
totally do
right?
that.
They
First
just
or
don't-
last, baby.
They just don't give you the champagne bottle. The-
Yeah,
Yeah, you
Poppin'.
get sparkling cider.
instead of champagne.
You don't get
You get apple
champagne.
juice.
Yeah,
You get apple juice. Yeah.
sparkling
In a
apple
little,
juice.
in a little apple juice, square box container.
yeah.
Oh yeah, like a
with
little
straw.
like a little kitty one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
And you have to squirt it.
It's almost. Well, I have a list here that I was wondering if we can get your response to each of these.
Go for it.
This isn't my list. I didn't write this.
Okay.
I know these two are gonna get on me about this. Maybe not. Jen looks judgmental right now.
My brain kind of
That's just
glitched
my
out
face,
for a little
Richard.
bit, so I didn't hear everything that you
Oh,
said.
I have a list. I have a list here that I would like Brock to respond to, and I didn't write this list.
Oh,
Who wrote the list?
Discover.hubpages.com.
what the heck?
Okay.
Kind of.
It's just
URL is that?
top 10 reasons why NASCAR racing is stupid. Oh, I didn't write it. I didn't write
Wow.
it.
But you
Wow.
took the time to find it. How dare
And then
you?
present it to your friend.
Wow.
I'm giving him an opportunity to spread the fandom of NASCAR.
He is
That's true.
supporting
So-
your brand right now, Richard. Look at that. He's supporting
Oh, Powerade?
Powerade.
Not Gatorade, Powerade.
Powerade.
Yeah.
And
Who
you're
I am
gonna-
contractually obligated to mention Powerade at Grace at every meal. I want to say Powerade is delicious, and I'm looking forward to the release of Mystic Mountain Blueberry.
Finish the dang race.
Yeah, let's finish the dang Grace, Ricky. All right, so it says I just realized this. It says top 10 reasons. The first one is reason 10.1. So they're coming up with more than 10 for the list. It says number 1. So these are reasons why NASCAR is stupid, according to Hub Pages, not Richard. The sport is completely personality driven. Drivers who have never won a race are featured on ESPN.
NASCAR's not on ESPN.
There you go, Hub Pages.
So
Way to
already
completely kill your credibility right out the gate. Thanks. I appreciate that. Shake and
And
bake. Yeah, we
also-
shake and bake around here. Shake and bake.
Shake
shake and
and
bake.
I'll just shake and bake. Shake and bake myself.
yeah, that one's wrong.
Yeah.
The personalities are what really get people into the sport. Like, if we didn't have guys who were
Controversial.
controversial, yeah, like Denny Hamlin and Bubba Wallace and Kyle Busch, then you wouldn't have guys to contrast them like Brad Keselowski, number 1.
Is that your guy with the?
Yeah.
Okay. What car number is he?
6.
Okay.
Then there really wouldn't be anybody to kind of root against and to cheer for.
It's kind of like any other sport where
Yeah.
people love to hate polarizing characters,
Yeah.
like Terrell Owens in football,
Pat Mahomes.
Pat Mahomes.
Funny thing about Denny Hamlin, though, He talks a big game, but he doesn't have a ring. So
That's
I mean, that's a fair
like,
point.
like you can hate Tom Brady, but the dude's got 6 Super Bowl rings.
big talk from a guy who's never won anything.
Yeah. Who, when there was a long time ago where I was sort of in conversations with a certain female who was a big NASCAR fan. And I was trying to get into it because she was someone that I was talking with, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, for me to find something to like just catch me and hold me and hook me, I got to have someone who's controversial, someone that like is enjoyable. And so at that time, I don't know if he's still racing or not, but Tony Stewart was like the dude. People hated Tony Stewart because he drove a Toyota, and he was always he spoke his mind. I was like, that's my guy. If I'm following NASCAR, Tony Stewart's got to be my guy. I gotta have something to hook me. And so like that polarizing character. So is your guy polarizing?
He used to be back in the early 2000s when he had kind of a bad Brad persona because he was one of the villains, I'd say. But he's kind of mellowed out now that he's had a couple kids and is in the ownership position.
So if he's been racing that long, is he like sort of close to retirement?
Not
What's the average career length of a driver?
Shoot, Kevin Harvick retired at 25 years last year, so I think it's about 25, 30.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
He's
So
had a
who
pretty
gonna
long
go
career,
to
man.
when Brad retires?
I don't want to think about that right now.
Don't even bring that. How dare you put that into the world?
Don't you dare put that evil on me.
Probably,
Did you put that on me, Ricky Bobby? Let's put another knife in my leg, why don't you?
probably Chris Buescher though, who also drives for RFK.
So you wouldn't stick with the team. You're more of a driver guy.
Yeah.
Are most fans, do you think, like fans of teams or driver? Like if your driver went to a different team, would you follow the driver or stick with Kings Hawaiian?
I'd stick with the driver because, like with Keselowski, he went from Team Penske to Roush Fenway, who was owned by Jack Roush. And I kind of just followed him because he was my guy.
Like the Roush, like Ford Roush, Mustang kind of Roush? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
He's a big Ford guy. He's also a Mustang guy.
I am.
Yeah.
If you talk anything Mustang, he's like, what?
I drive.
What?
Yeah. The new Mustang, though, in the Cup Series, awesome.
Oh, has it been doing good?
Yeah. Best looking car on the track, dude.
Oh, it is a good look.
Get
I
yourself a
wasn't
driver, Jason. There you go.
right.
Oh.
I wasn't a fan of the new Mustang look when I first saw it on the images, but it's really grown on me.
Yeah.
I kind of like it now.
I think it all depends on the angle. Like I need to see one in person because the back end of like the actual car, the way they have that cutout in the trunk,
Yeah,
how
where
it
it like
indents
cuts in. Yeah.
it looks weird in photos, but in person it might look good.
I have seen a couple in person just like driving by out on the road, and it is a little funky looking at the back. In my opinion, it's not the best looking back end that Mustang's made, but it's not bad looking. Like I don't mind it.
That's what most people are going to see, right? The back, the taillights.
Well, you would hope.
First on race day, baby.
Right.
Now it's
Oh
just
yeah,
for-
you're also a big Ford guy. I
Yeah.
forgot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Big Ford
so-
guy. Big Ford guy.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Jen's a Toyota girl.
Yeah, I like Toyota.
I didn't. Well, I'm not attacking you.
Oh no, you made it
Easy.
sound. You're like,
So-
Jen's a Toyota girl.
It's
Maybe
because of
that's
the
one
Prius.
What? No. I was just commenting on the new Prius.
I made the comment in was it last week's video of or 2 weeks ago? It was last week where I said I was like, hey, if you're single and you don't want to get married, buy a Prius.
Yeah.
If you're single and you want to get married, don't buy a Prius yet.
Buy anything but a Prius.
Yeah, he agrees.
Oh man.
I don't
What
think
would-
Jen agrees.
What would Caitlin do if you just showed up tomorrow and you're like, hey, traded my car in for a Prius?
I don't think she'd be too happy,
Wouldn't
honestly.
be too happy.
But
don't
what
marry
if
you
you showed up
anymore.
with a Prius Prime that you did not need to use fuel during the week?
I think it's more of a spending money kind of thing.
Oh, fair enough. Than the type of car thing. Let's say money is not a concern at all. What do you think her response would be if you like, hey, I got a Prius?
She'd look at me and she'd go, why?
Yeah. See?
She'd be like, "Who are you?
Yeah.
What happened to you?
What happened?
Did you get
what
abducted
happened?
by like aliens and then
What-
brought
what-
back to
what
Earth? Like what happened?
Who hurt you?
What if
Show me on this doll.
Show me on
Tell
this
me where
doll.
they touched you.
Yeah.
what if though you showed up with a Prius that was wrapped to look like a NASCAR?
No.
No.
I tried.
All right. So reason
Darn.
10 of the 10. This is the second reason, but it's number 10.
This better be a good one.
It just says, how many ways can you go in a circle? It's loud. It's boring. How do you know who's ahead?
You read.
Yeah, there's because they show it on the list,
On
like
the screen.
place, right?
Yeah, and then at the track, there's a big scoring pylon that you just have to look. And
It
find
sounds
the
like
number.
somebody who asked that question, "How do you know who's ahead?" is someone that can't read numbers.
Or they just like watched like a movie about NASCAR and then just picked out things that they thought were dumb
Yeah.
and don't actually understand it.
Number 9, technology is 90% of the race. How's that a bad thing? How does that
How's
make
that
it
bad?
stupid?
That doesn't make
don't-
sense.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. I don't
That's
like
what
the
makes it-
author of this article.
That's what makes it cool.
I
What's up with
actually
this list?
I actually think, I mean, I don't know much about NASCAR. I mean, I'm a newbie, but I actually think there's less technology in the appearance of NASCAR than there is in like Formula One. Like to me, NASCAR looks more like raw and about the driver than it does than like Formula One or something like that. So I
I
would
do
think that
know-
technology would be less intrusive in NASCAR.
I spoke with a buddy of mine that we've mentioned before, but who had an opportunity to get into Formula One, and he said that he used to look down on NASCAR, sort of like the bottom tier, like the algae eaters of like drivers.
You're a
Right.
Posthumus.
And then he said he saw like Formula One drivers who switched over and raced NASCAR in a season,
can't do it.
or completely switched over, and he's like they struggled so much they couldn't do it. They were like the worst drivers.
Yeah.
He goes it changed his entire view and perspective on his level of respect for NASCAR.
It's a completely different game.
Yeah.
It's so unique in the automotive racing world because like I don't think in any other race you have so many cars that are packed so close together, which really disrupts the airflow and the aerodynamics are just not as good.
It makes me ask the question, like we all watch the Blue Angels and the Thunderbirds at air shows, and we marvel at and we're in awe of how close they are at such high speeds,
That's true.
and they're able to maintain inches in flight. It's the same idea
Yeah.
at 180, 200 miles an hour of cars on the ground. It's
That's a good
essentially in
point.
flight on the ground, like maintaining that, except these guys are racing, competing, and they're not trying to maintain that.
Yeah.
They're not working together. They're working against each other,
Yeah.
That's a
able to
good point.
maintain that gap.
I think it's also the whole stereotype of your whole drunk redneck thing.
Right.
Like people see that and they're like, "Oh, that's just a bunch of drunk Southerners." It's
Yeah.
not. It's really
not.
not.
If you want to
Right.
put that stereotype, and I'm not, onto anybody, it'd be like the dirt track racing,
Right.
Right.
I don't like.
like the
dirt.
sprint cars.
I don't
Oh
like
yeah,
dirt
yeah,
tracking.
yeah.
No.
Like
Yeah.
the
No.
modifieds.
Not my thing.
Yeah, like
Doesn't-
you ever seen those big sprint cars? It looks like a little cocoon go kart with a massive
Yeah,
wing
yeah,
on the
yeah.
back. They have big tires on one side and little on the other side, and they usually flip over the guardrails into the fan and
Yeah.
the crowds and kill
Yep.
everybody. Yeah.
Well, that
Those
escalated
people.
quickly.
Man, that really got out of hand fast.
Number 8 is the biggest race comes first. They call their Daytona 500 the Super Bowl of NASCAR, and it's in February. It's the first race of the season. So they're like, why is the biggest race the first race?
Because that's where that's where it started. That's where NASCAR started. Was on racing on the beaches of Daytona,
Okay.
and it's at the biggest track. Which, if you guys ever get the chance to go to that track,
I've
it's-
been to Daytona.
Daytona is amazing.
When I was in the Guard, we were flying around. We did an air show in Florida in Daytona, and so while our plane was parked, we got to go out and check out the area. And it was during like MotoGP racing and all that. Man, Daytona Bike Week is what it was.
Yeah.
And man, I'll say the automotive, the vehicle scene there was just awesome, like incredible.
Yeah.
Okay.
My dad and I went. I think it was in 2017 because we were going down to Florida to visit my grandma, and we went to the Coke 0400. And the whole way they have that track built up and the atmosphere is, and just under the lights, seeing like the track, like it was just
Like the iconic Daytona track.
it's like wow, I'm actually here
You're in
watching.
awe.
Right.
I could see why they would have the big race in the beginning of the year, like because it's like you're waiting. Like, how long is it between seasons? How many months from the time it ends to Daytona hitting up again?
3.
So 3 months. So you got 3 months. You're like jonesing. Like I can understand the jonesing for like big horsepower cars just going crazy.
Yeah.
So for 3
can
months,
too.
you're like it's like a big celebration. Like, oh, it's finally here.
Right. And
So
it's,
yeah, it's fine having the big race in the beginning.
and it's not the longest race, is it? Like,
Oh,
is
no.
it so there's longer races
There's
and
there's a longer race than 500 miles.
Yeah. There's a
On purpose?
the Coke 600.
It's
at
not because
Charlotte.
like the car's engines are just dieseling and they can't get them to turn off. That you got to keep going.
No, they just like to go 600 miles on. Is it? I think it's Memorial Day weekend. It's the same day as the Indy 500.
It's like the end of May.
End of May, yeah.
I need to ask, how many times do they have something like set up to where they can go pee?
The drivers?
Yeah, I couldn't.
Good point. Do they wear piddle packs?
I would not last
Probably.
15
I
minutes.
haven't looked too much into that because I don't really care.
Yeah. That's not really what I'm into.
Yeah.
But how do they pee?
If I had to guess, I would imagine they're wearing something to assist
I would
with
bet
that.
they either pee themselves and just deal with it,
Oh.
or they wear a piddle pack.
Oh, I hope they wear a piddle pack.
I mean, gets up to like 180 degrees in there. So,
No, I've heard though, don't
they
they have
have to
like
hydrate.
suits that?
yeah.
Don't they have like suits that like run cooling water like through their racing suit? I've heard about that. I don't know if they do it.
It's
though.
kind of like an ice pack, like a big old ice pack that's like
Oh, okay.
wraps around them.
Okay.
And then they have a hose that goes from their from the back of the car to pump air into their helmet so that
Oh,
they
okay.
don't get too
I like a
hot.
fan.
Yeah.
Holy cow, that's intense.
Yeah.
Woo.
I
No,
mean,
it's in a car, not intense.
But that makes sense though, because you're racing for 3 hours, 500-600 miles. You want to stay alert the entire time. Yeah, you don't want to.
Yeah.
You don't want to be
Yeah.
passing out from heat stroke or something.
So looking down this list, I'm seeing sort of a trend or a pattern. Is this person has very weak arguments for hating NASCAR?
It's sounding like it. The first one was really bad.
The first
Yeah.
couple,
That one was
Because
awful.
the next one, number 7, the drivers are just high-paid pitchmen. How long until they start tattooing sponsors' names on their foreheads?
What?
Isn't
I think
that
this-
isn't that any sport?
That's any
Like-
sport. Look at
kidding.
soccer. Hello. Have you seen? Like they don't even have the team. The team name is a sponsor.
It's just a big billboard.
I feel
Yeah.
like we're all just here to team up against this article at this point.
You're like,
because I'm like,
I've shifted
what?
from how dare you to how dare you.
Yeah.
Don't hate a sport just to hate a sport. Like actually have some valid arguments if you're gonna.
I think
kidding.
my entire life, my big hang up on NASCAR is the fact that there's so much time in between things that keep me engaged. Like if you have, like let's say 500 miles, the first like 5 laps and the last 5 laps with maybe a couple in between there's not a whole lot out of just watching cars go around, unless you're actually like understanding what's happening inside the car. Just a generic like watching it, you're like,
Right.
there's not a lot of action, there's not a lot going on. And like we've talked about multiple times the fact that people in today's society just want their brains always stimulated. When all you're watching is cars doing this,
Yeah.
you sort of like lose that interest a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like I've heard people say, yeah, you just watch the start and then take a nap and then watch the finish.
I mean, that's what I do sometimes.
See?
If it's a really bad race like Pocono or one of the road races, I'll take a nap. Yeah.
Because
See, I
obviously
would-
we know.
Bake a
That's
cake in
interesting
between.
though, because I would find the road races more interesting because there's more involved. So
Wait,
it's
NASCAR
interesting.
does
that-
road racing too?
Yeah. I think there's
I didn't
4
know
of
that.
them.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I didn't know that either.
Right? They do. And
Oh,
don't they do?
circle.
Maybe I'm
Don't
gonna
they
start
do
following
one
NASCAR.
race?
I can't believe I just said that where the public's going to hear me say that.
Oh no.
We're not editing that out.
I'm gonna start following NASCAR.
Maybe
Don't edit that out.
Of course, I'm going to have to pick a very controversial driver, so it's probably going to be Toyota. What's the most hated team in NASCAR?
Joe Gibbs Racing.
Is that Toyota?
Yeah.
Oh,
Joel Gibbs. Then.
Now you know your team.
Joe Gibbs. Yeah, but why? Okay, but why is he hated? Why is the team hated? Is it Joe Gibbs or is it the team?
It ain't Joe Gibbs. We're gonna have to go into a rabbit hole on this one.
Oh boy,
Here we go.
get out
you
your
go.
hunting rifles,
Should I,
boys.
should I change the mood? I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Jason's our editor. He can
because-
do amazing things. He can make you blow up into an atomic bomb if you wanted.
Do that. You can ask Caitlin about this too.
Oh, is this her driver?
No.
Has she adopted your driver?
Yeah.
Because she has to.
Yeah.
Right?
And she's adopted the hatred for Joe Gibbs Racing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because when she met you, she wasn't a fan of NASCAR, right?
No.
And is she slowly,
Slowly, yeah. We watched the Clash together, and then
sort of like brainwashing?
What?
this ain't Chick-fil-A now. Come on now.
Oh! Well, hey, Chick-fil-A and its sponsor. We got Dutch Bros.
Yeah,
Dutch Bros.
sure.
I'm still waiting. The letter hadn't come in the mail yet. You sure got my address right?
Dutch Bros and Powerade.
Yeah, Dutch Bros and Powerade. All right, so explain the hatred for Joe Gibbs. Let's go rabbit hole.
Their drivers are just a bunch of pompous, arrogant personalities,
I don't like that.
and they whine a lot. Looking at you, Denny Hamlin. And then,
He's watching this, by the way.
oh,
Yeah.
I know.
We know you're watching this,
I'm gonna
Denny.
send it to him on Twitter.
They're a subscriber. I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna send it to him on Twitter. It'll be fine. And they're just kind of hypocritical. They want to be raced clean, but then they'll just run into guys just to run into them.
What's their excuse for doing that? Part of racing.
Respect. That's a super speed race, but respect because they've been in the sport a while. And it's not-
I hit you because I respect you.
I hit you because you're not getting out of my way, and I want to go win. Like maybe
But
have
that sounds like a domestic violence situation.
sounds like a skill issue to me.
They sound like
So-
gaslighters.
It does sound like a skill issue.
So they get mad if somebody hits them because they're in somebody else's way,
Yeah.
but they want you out of their way.
So they'll hit you. Yeah.
It's like
They'll
the
drive
people.
right through you.
It's like the people at Walmart who just walk at like 0.1 mile an hour in the center of the aisle.
Yeah. And
But if you do it in front of
wide.
them, they're like, "Excuse me,
Yeah.
on your left."
Kinda. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I hate that.
I do too.
would not go Joe Gibbs.
No.
Wow. Okay, so not that team then,
Yeah,
because
no.
that's poor attitude right there for sure.
No go Joe.
No go Joe. If you want to go with a more
Like a respectable, but like a tone. I mean, I didn't look into Tony Stewart a whole lot, but like that kind of a thing.
A respectable but controversial team.
yeah,
Like,
like
like
a,
he
Yeah.
plays the game right, but controversial.
Who's
in
got the
some
coolest
way.
car? Who's got the coolest looking car? And I know you
Well,
biased
the
to
Mustangs,
number
of
6,
course.
I mean,
but if you just complete bias aside, if you look at all the cars and you're like, "That's the coolest looking car. I wish it was mine."
One of the Mustangs, of course.
Joey Logano.
Joey Logano.
Logano, yeah.
Logano.
Yeah.
That sounds too French. I don't like that.
Brad Keselowski. Then I ain't biased. You go. You look up the.
That sounds Polish.
Pretty sure he is Polish.
Oh, see? He's not Hawaiian?
What?
He's not Hawaiian?
No, that's just a sponsor.
But if the other
He's
guy is
appropriation.
French, if the other guy is French, you can watch the race while you're drinking your macchiato.
No, that's Gerard's job. Yeah, she has her macchiato cup.
Where's my cup? I can't see it from here. There it is.
You found it. Say it. Say the line.
I don't know the
You
line.
have spilled my macchiato.
You have spilled my macchiato.
Like it's okay, so the next one on this list.
Oh boy.
It's too easy to get killed. So is driving to the supermarket.
So is walking.
So is walking. So is breathing.
So
Have you ridden a bus or?
have you lived?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you done anything?
Life is too easy to get killed.
Yeah.
Get out from behind your keyboard. What if your keyboard catches fire?
I can't chop this tomato. It's too easy for this knife to kill me.
Their argument is boxing is dangerous, but driving at 150 miles an hour 6 inches from a bumper is deadly.
That's dumb.
So
That's
so
dumb. It's 180 at 2 inches.
And it should be 200 with
If
800
anything,
horsepower.
the closer you get, the more cushion you have because you can bump and then just like stay there. The more distance you have, the higher impact, right?
yeah. So
Yeah, so you're
well, and also the entire car
Who wrote this
is
article?
is built to be safe. Like you have the roll cage, you have crumple zones, you have all these components, you have like an entire suit and a neck brace. You have all these components to keep you safe. And yet boxing, you have a mouth guard and they hit you in the face.
That's a
Yeah.
little more dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
look at football. People love football. And like there's people who die in like not to get morbid or anything, but do you know what the average number of deaths per season is in NASCAR? Like how often does somebody die in NASCAR?
Almost never.
Almost never. Was the last death Dale Earnhardt?
It was
Was
Earnhardt.
it?
Yeah.
Earnhardt?
That was a
wow,
long
that's a long
time
time
ago.
ago. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
So 20 years ago.
So
Yeah.
they actually have a
Like,
really good safety record if you
Football
take that into account.
has
then.
people who have cardiac arrests on the field.
Yeah. Checkmate.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's people who die from head impacts just from tackling somebody, from snapping their neck.
Wow.
Like, there's probably more people that die on average in football than NASCAR. The next one, all the cars look the same.
What the?
Actually, all the cars are the same.
I mean,
Okay, this person.
they don't
I mean-
look. I mean, they have different.
Here's one
wraps,
thing
but-
about competition that I will say, and you can weigh in on this, but isn't the point of competition to be as fair as possible?
Yeah.
So if all the cars were shaped identical, wouldn't that make it as fair as possible? Then it comes down to skill.
True.
It comes
I mean,
down completely to skill. Like what you were saying about Joe Gibbs is, they don't have enough skill to pass somebody, so they have to bump them.
Yeah.
So I guess in that regard, it's a good thing that they got rid of the stock element in the stock car, to make it as fair as possible, which is probably why they did it, if I had to guess.
Yeah. That's why Richard Petty has 200 wins because he had a partnership with Mopar and Dodge
Okay.
to where he could just go and pick the biggest engine on the block and go race it and win and just go out and just dominate.
Interesting.
And that's why he has 200 wins, which is great and all,
Right. It's a little
But he had
skewed.
an
Unfair.
advantage that other
but
people
he had
didn't
a
have.
really big advantage. Yeah.
Interesting.
Not to take it away. I mean, I don't know anything about him. I just know who he was and his, his legacy.
Yeah.
But like, was he still a respectable driver?
Yeah.
So like, not to take anything away from him, but he had that advantage.
He was, he outmatched the field most.
Play the hand that you're dealt. Like he
Yeah.
had that. He had that sponsor. Take advantage of it.
Yeah.
So would you say that because of that, he contributed to the idea of like reducing the horsepower ratings and like more unifying all the cars on field? Would you say he had a hand in that because of that?
I wouldn't say that. Just because he was doing all his winning in like the 50s and 60s when it was really just getting started.
God, yeah, okay, fair enough.
But
he had a Plymouth, like the
Superbird. yeah.
Superbird. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a cool car.
That was cool.
Yeah.
I love that car.
Number 4. This is another poor reason. The engines are all carbureted.
No, they're not.
That's what this
I was
person
gonna say
says.
they used to be.
You can buy a fuel injected anything from every new car dealer in the United States. NASCAR requires mechanical fuel delivery systems.
That's just wrong.
So they're all fuel injected.
They're all fuel injected. Yeah.
So who wrote this article?
Who are you?
I don't know.
What did you find, Richard?
I just typed in like a random why NASCAR
Find a
is
better
not
one.
worth watching, and this is what came up.
I have one for you. How dare you?
How dare I? I didn't write this article. I had a disclaimer at the beginning.
Disclaimer.
I
Cover,
even-
cover the whole screen and disclaimer.
I even said a second ago that I'm like, oh, maybe I'm gonna look into this thing. Give me a break.
Richard,
I'm not on the hot seat
how
here.
dare you choose this article?
That's true. I'll take it. Let's get through it then. Number 3, you can't play unless you're a millionaire.
So any car sport?
Yeah.
If anything. Yeah. I've heard I used to drive over the road for TMC, and the owner of that, he's passed away now, but at the time I drove, he was still alive, and I guess, I can't remember if it was his son or his nephew, was really, really into NASCAR. And he wanted to get involved in it, so his dad completely financed the whole thing, and he's horrible at it. I think he still races. I can't remember who his sponsor is. I'll find out his name and I'll let you know when we're done, but I guess he's really terrible. He never places. He rarely ever qualifies.
Oh, jeez.
But the company is fronting all the bills for this, and a lot of people hate it because they're like, he only gets in there because he can buy his way in. He has no talent, and people who have talent that should be able to earn the spots can't afford to get it, so they can't get in there.
Yeah.
And so, like that one, I think that's what they may be referring to as far as that. Like you have to be in. If you're not in, then you don't have an opportunity, so it's not equal.
In a way, yeah. You can't just wake up and say, "Hey, I want to be a NASCAR driver today." Like you have to. There's like a progression system to it.
Mm-hmm.
Most guys start out in the dirt car ranks, and then work up to concrete ovals, and then to ARCA, and then some of the smaller series, and then they move up to the trucks, and then the Xfinity series, and then the Cup series. But it's a very small.
It's kind of the same way with like Hollywood, though. With
Yeah.
acting, if you have a favorite actor, like if you're a child or a family member of someone who is in networked to it, you have much more advantage, much more opportunity
absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
to get involved in it,
Definitely.
even
You have a
if you're a
huge head
terrible
start.
actor.
Yeah, you have a huge head start.
Yeah, look at like, not that he's a terrible actor, but like Tom Hanks and his son. His son is a huge star because he's, I'm sure a large part of it is because he's Tom Hanks' kid, so he had a lot of connections to get to certain people to give him that opportunity.
Yeah. And it's the same way with any, especially automotive sport. It's like they're expensive. And
What were you
that's
saying?
just the
Like
reality of it.
people in Formula One, they spend millions to gain like a tenth of a second.
Yeah. Yeah, at that high of a level,
crazy.
yeah. It's like $1 million per like tenth of a second, if I remember correctly. And I don't know if it's the same with NASCAR, but it sounds like they're so strict with their horsepower numbers and everything that it's not about spending money to gain speed. It's just about having the most talent.
Yeah.
So
The most skill.
Which-
Do you watch any other racing, or do you like NASCAR? Do you get into road racing, Formula One, that kind of stuff?
Nah.
MotoGP, motorcycle racing?
I tried to get into the IndyCar thing, but I'm just it's too spread out for me. Like the thing that draws me into NASCAR is they're so close most of the time that like anything can happen anywhere. With IndyCar and stuff, they're just so spread out that there's not a lot of passing or anything that really happens. So
That's one thing that I love about baseball is like people hate baseball because they say it's too slow, it's too boring. But like I love baseball because it's so much more of a mental like chess match between the pitcher, the batter, the players, and you have like this lull of time where you're waiting and the anticipation of like that 2 or 3 seconds of like this sheer insane amount of energy of just exploding in a single play. Like that's what makes baseball for me incredible. Like one of the many things. So I could kind of see that same thing with NASCAR is you're watching, okay, what's gonna happen? And then when it happens, you're like, oh, I'm glad I didn't miss it.
yeah,
Because it happened so fast.
Yeah. My sport of choice is drifting. Like I don't know if you.
that's fun. Yeah.
I love drifting because I admire the skill level of it. It like being on that razor's edge all the time of like sliding the car through the course to me is just it's phenomenal to watch. And NASCAR I would imagine takes a lot of skill too. You know, being in those close quarters and at such a high speed, you know, constantly in that turn. Because that's another thing too. Actually, I just realized is because you're almost constantly in a turn, you're actually reducing the amount of grip available to your tires. So you can't just slam the accelerator or hit the brakes too hard because you're reducing the amount of friction that's available to you by constantly being in that turn at high speed.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty delicate balance. That takes a lot of skill.
You got to take care of your tires pretty much the entire race
Right.
until
Mm-hmm.
Now, are drivers allowed to use different brand tires? Is that allowed? Or is
Nope.
everyone's on the exact same tire?
it's all Goodyear.
Okay.
So everyone
So
gets
it's
the same
really
tire.
strict.
It's all straight even.
It's
What's the
really strict,
like the
huh?
bank angle? If you've never seen like a NASCAR track, the bank angle on these turns because of the speed these cars are carrying and the G force pulling them out, like it's no joke. You can't stand on it really very well at all. Like, isn't it? It's more than 45 degrees.
Whoa.
It's pretty steep.
At Talladega it is, but I think at Kansas it gets to like I want to say 25, but I could be wrong.
It's a steep angle.
It's a pretty steep angle, and just when you're down, we had front row seats at the race in October, and just watching the cars fly down into turn one, and just absolutely muscle it in there is just incredible to watch.
It's like bobsledding in a car. Way
Oh,
faster.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's a good way to put it.
that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where does Talladega rank in, like, if Daytona is like the pinnacle of the NASCAR racing, where does Talladega rank? Because obviously, you know, we race in Talladega.
Obviously,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Talladega's probably number 2. I might be a little biased just because that was where I went for my first race because I lived in Alabama when I was starting to get into it, and that was my birthday present in 2009.
Oh, cool.
Aw.
Yes, you got a really good, cool connection to that.
Oh yeah,
How long is that race?
it was 500 miles.
And then obviously the length of the track determines how many laps that is.
Yeah, Talladega is a 2.5 mile track, so it's 200,
Roughly 200 laps.
200 some.
Yeah, that's a lot of laps. Well, for the record, Daytona is the second steepest bank angle at 31 degrees, and Talladega is the steepest at 33 degrees. So,
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
now we
There you
know.
go.
There you go.
Nice. Reason number 2 on our way down to 1, they actually reward teams for not racing.
What?
Are you?
No.
According to
Aware of
this,
this?
in a strategy that would impress the U.S. Department of Agriculture, NASCAR pays racing teams when they qualify for a race, then run one lap and intentionally drop out.
That would have been true 20 years ago when the start and park teams were a thing, but that's not a thing anymore.
Okay. So what was the thing behind that? Like, why would they do that?
Just to get paid.
Just to get paid?
Yeah, because you had
Because it's about the money, not the competition anymore.
Yeah, and it would mainly be for guys who were like on the edge of their career, like Joe Nemechek or Bill Elliott. Towards the end of their career, they would do that, and it was just to get a paycheck. But I think it's been a good 15, 20 years since anybody's done that.
Wow.
So this article might be a little outdated.
It could be. The number one reason they have on here,
Man.
it's not a sport. We've already talked a lot about the physical
It's a motorsport.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
motorsport. We've talked a lot about, or I talked earlier about the physicality it takes to sustain that endurance. It's like a it's like it's
Right.
probably more physically. I'm probably gonna upset a lot of people here because in Kansas we have a lot of runners. I could imagine it would be more physically strenuous than running a marathon.
Yeah.
If you consider bowling a sport,
Or cheerleading.
Or pool.
Or cheerleading.
yeah,
Cheerleading. Wow.
I would imagine
I know
that that racing a car of any sort is far more intense than bowling. It's just- not to upset bowlers out there. I like bowling, but
I'm bowling too, but
still,
NASCAR is a little.
yeah, takes a little more work.
Yeah.
But what's also cool about NASCAR to me is you kind of have a sport within the sport when it comes to the pit crews. Like those guys are incredibly
Those are cool
talented.
to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually watched a video about the equipment that they use, like just the impact wrench that they use to like take the wheels off. Those things are like $250,000.
Yeah.
They're insane. It's like so like that whole thing is a sport just on its own.
What's the average pit time?
9 seconds.
9?
And what all do they accomplish in 9 seconds?
Take off all 4 tires, put them back on, fill the car up with gas, and get them out.
9
9
seconds.
seconds.
It's amazing to watch.
They
Dude.
fill up the whole tank or just enough for however many laps they have set
They
up.
pretty much fill it up to get them to their next pit stop. And then,
I wish I could go through a gas pump in 9 seconds.
right?
Right?
Are you kidding?
Yeah,
it takes
could you
me
ima-
it takes me 20 seconds just to answer all the stupid questions. No, I don't want a receipt. No, I don't want a car wash. No, I don't
Credit
want.
or debit.
Yeah.
The one change they did make to last season is they made it one lug nut,
Oh, okay.
but still to get off all 4 tires and
Yeah.
put a full tank of gas in it in 9 seconds.
That's
I
still
couldn't
amazing.
Imagine being the driver and on top of everything else that you're dealing with, having enough faith in your pit crew that they put the tires on correct. And
That's
and
true.
you're about to go 180 miles an hour, hoping that all 4 guys put those. Is it 4 guys that do it? One per wheel? Or is it
5.
one guy does
It's
each
5.
side?
Because somebody has to put the gas in.
No, hold on. 8, because there's
So one guy takes it off, one guy puts it on.
yeah, there's a gas guy, the guy who pumps the gas, the jackman, the tire changer, the tire carrier for both wheels, and then
Okay.
I might be a little off, but that's
But either way, like
Wow.
on each corner, how many guys are responsible for taking the tire off and putting the new one on?
2.
So one guy takes it off, one guy puts it on.
So that's already
So you have to
4.
hope the guy
I'm
that
8.
takes it off. So you have that many people. Also, it's not just like 4 people. You have that many people working in unison
At that fast.
at that fast of a pace,
Wow.
doing that much stuff.
Yeah.
And-
That's crazy.
And you know that they
And then
like
you do it in 9 seconds.
they basically have a full-time job just practicing that.
Yeah.
That's almost
They
more
have
impressive than the
daily
racer.
pit crew practices.
You
Right.
know?
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like a dance, man. They have to choreograph all that
Pretty much, yeah.
without running into each other.
But again, I couldn't imagine being the driver going, man, I hope all 4 people didn't strip the threads, taking the tires off.
Right.
And I hope all other 4 people put all the tires all the way on.
Uh-huh.
Because I'm about to go 180, 2 inches away.
Yeah, and
from
if
another car.
I hesitate for a second, I'm gonna lose a position or 2.
Yep.
And because like I remember it was a movie, but Ford versus Ferrari.
Oh, that's a good
have you
one.
seen that one?
I haven't seen that one yet.
You haven't seen that?
I'm
Oh, it's really good.
Incredible.
I don't think this is really a spoiler. I mean, it's something that happens, but I don't think it's really a spoiler. But in one of the races, they decide that they're going to design the car to be able to remove the entire braking system because they were having trouble with the brakes. And so during the race, they swap out the whole braking system, and then he's driving, and the pit crew, the guy in charge, can see that he's not at full speed, and he's like, "Come on, man, get at it! I gave you new brakes, trust it." And then once he, got his mind wrapped around, and he trusted the car. He was able to go full speed. But so I see what you're saying. That like that would just have to take, I think, time to trust your pit crew to like
Discipline,
know,
yeah.
and discipline.
And then you have the whole dynamic with, so they're going close to 200 miles an hour on the track, right?
Yeah.
Pit road speed most of the time is like 45 or 50 miles an hour. So they
Talk
have,
about the speed
You
differential.
got to get it.
You gotta-
You also got to get out of the way of other cars.
yeah, you got to pull onto pit road, slow your car down to under pit road speed, and then not speed with such a finicky throttle system.
Wow.
I couldn't imagine doing how many laps average, probably between pit stops.
Depends on the track. Normally it's like 45 to 55.
So imagine your body and your perception, you get used to 180 miles an hour for 45 laps. And then you have to get your mind, you know how slow 45 would feel like? You're like,
Yeah.
come on! Ah!
If you can actually kind of experience that. Like if you just go on a road trip and you're driving at 70, 80 miles an hour, for like an hour, 2 hours at a time, and then you slow down, like you
You
feel
pull
like
into your neighborhood and you're at 30. You're like, it's going to take me 6 hours to get 3 blocks.
yeah, it feels like everything is so different. It's crazy. So yeah, that's a good point too. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it would be like all those small little variables that people don't consider that are going through like the mental insanity of all the people involved, from the pit crew to the driver to the manager to everybody.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy to think about.
Yeah, I mean, when you really break it down and you think about all the intricate details and what they have to go through and the pit crews and all these different factors, it does give you a respect for the sport, definitely.
I'm going to say something that could be controversial.
Okay.
Go for it.
I mean, I would support NASCAR before EVs. Fight me.
Okay.
Fight me. What's your thought about, because we've talked about this a little bit, what's your thought about having either a class or completely a replacement of racing with only EVs?
Controversial. I wouldn't watch it.
Am
No?
I
No.
dreaming right now? Because that should not even be brought up.
I wouldn't. The day they go to EVs, I'm not gonna watch.
What if they just added a class? Like they kept everything exactly how it is now, and they added a whole other thing just for EV.
No,
You wouldn't watch it?
no,
But would
because you don't get the sound, or
Unless you're in the car, you wouldn't get any exhilaration.
I don't want to listen to. Yeah, that's part of the reason I watch Formula One. Sounds like mosquitoes. I don't like it. I don't like
that's the high
mosquitoes.
revving motors. Like the
Yeah.
I'm going to say
It's-
something controversial too.
Okay.
It's like if you have regular NASCAR, I mean, everybody's going to watch it. It's going to be like men's basketball. If you have EV, it's going to be like women's basketball.
that went through
Nobody
my
watches
that
it.
went through my head, but I wasn't going to say
yeah.
anything. So I'm glad you as a woman said that.
And like we've talked about before, like taking the engine away feels like taking the soul away. It's just, that's part of the experience. It's a big part of the experience.
Just like he and I talked about a while ago when we first, were sponsored by PMS when that whole thing first started.
Right.
Was with today's technology on automatic transmissions, you can run a quarter mile faster in an automatic than a manual. That doesn't mean a manual is not more fun to drive. I'd still rather buy a manual car. I know you don't drive a manual.
I'd love to learn how to drive one though.
Yeah, but I know you would.
Yeah, but there ain't.
But there's just so much more. It's more enjoyable. It's just so much more engaging.
Yeah.
I don't care that it's slower. That I'm going to lose, street light to street light.
Yeah.
I'm having more fun than the guy next to me.
Yeah. If you're racing for money, you go automatic. If you're racing for fun, for the experience, you go manual. It's
NASCAR cars are manual.
that's
They're
what
manual?
their main goal.
Oh.
Every one of them?
Yeah, they got a sequential gear shift.
Awesome.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
Is it paddle shifting or is it?
it's
We need
Gear
to
rocker, yeah.
we need to get the PMS sticker on a NASCAR.
Dude, if we could get
That would be so epic.
we need to build we can add this to the list. Get a like go-kart NASCARs, and one of them would have to be sponsored by we can get a PMS team.
I think you
Ooh.
could probably get a small decal on one of the lower.
Like
Like-
this?
Probably, yeah. On like one of the really low Xfinity series. Might not run well, but your sticker's on a NASCAR race car.
We might look into that.
Look
Yeah.
We
into
might look
that.
into that.
That'd be cool.
So every guest has a couple questions they got to
Oh
answer.
boy.
And I know we did not prep you for this.
Okay.
I didn't prep you for this. Number one, folder or water.
What?
When number two happens in your life, do you fold the toilet paper or do you wad it?
Now he's thinking, he's like,
Yeah.
What do I
what,
do?
what do I do?
when I poop.
Yeah.
It's
Do
instinctual.
you fold the toilet paper or do you wad the
I
toilet
find
paper?
myself folding it now.
I'm a water.
Do you?
I do.
I'm a water.
You're a water?
Yeah.
I'm a folder.
I'm a little half and half. Most of the time, I fold it more now than I used to because I think about it.
We think about it now.
We asked this question in our life group a while ago as like we had new people join, and one of the people were like, we need an icebreaker question. And I think it was Tamra, of all people. She was like, Folder or water? We're like, what? So now that's a thing. Surprisingly, Tamra's a water. If you know Tamra, if you're watching this and you know who Tamra is, she's a water. Yep.
You just find out about people.
I'm
and you're
calling you
like,
out, Tamra. I know you don't watch. I know you don't watch this, but you're getting called out. And if she gets angry with me, she's Tamara. That's her. That's her angry name, Tamara.
It's the angry name.
Tamara.
Question 2.
Okay.
This is your last question.
Oh boy.
And it's okay if you don't have one. Erin didn't have one when she was a guest on during Christmas. Do you have a car-related story, car poop-related story? Like, it doesn't even have to be something that involves you. It could be somebody else, but a story that involves cars and poop.
Not off the top of my head.
No?
No.
Okay. Like, for example, I had one where I was in Hawaii and a guy that recommended a particular restaurant, a seafood restaurant. We all ate seafood. He ate a hamburger and didn't agree with his stomach. And so on the way back to the hotel, he ended up having a moment where he had to exit the car, go into a porta potty, and leave his swim trunks in the porta potty.
Oh.
because
Like,
he didn't make it.
It did not go well from the story.
As an example. So
Yeah,
it wasn't me, but it's a car poop related story.
And Shrum always had their work truck always had toilet paper in it in case they needed to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Use a tree for their business.
Use the
He's a
field.
tree. Yeah. But those are the 2 questions. So thanks for participating.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
I was curious also. Every sport has like superstitions.
That's true.
What is the thing about, because I've heard there's things about NASCAR, like there's certain colors or numbers or things that you just don't do.
Like the color green.
Yeah,
is
we
it,
heard
That's
is
the
it
thing.
green?
we heard that the color green was bad luck.
We heard
in
the color
NASCAR.
green is bad luck for NASCAR, and that's why it was funny in Talladega Nights when Jean Girard had a green Perrier car. Do you know anything about superstitions or weirdnesses around NASCAR? Certain drivers don't change their underwear all season, kind of thing.
Use the same socks.
Like there's certain baseball players that wear the exact same socks
Gross.
throughout the whole season.
They probably have a lot of bacteria on their feet.
Probably.
And probably
Athlete's
athlete's
foot.
foot.
Trying to think. I know there definitely are some.
Isn't there a number? Caitlin told me something about a particular number. I thought she told me like you don't wear this number or you don't wear this color.
People don't really like other people drive the number 3 car because that was Dale's.
Oh.
I can see it like
okay.
Out of
respect.
respect, because I'm just gonna be honest with you, the guy who's driving it now, Austin Dillon, he sucks.
They should have. That seems like a Jackie Robinson thing in baseball. Like the first, the guy who like paved the way for black players to be in Major League Baseball.
yeah, retire the number.
His number was 42. Well, they retired that number across all of baseball, and so there's one day a year in the Major League season where every player on that wears the number 42 in honor
That's so
of him.
nice.
That's
Yeah.
cool. That's a
That's
good.
how it should be with number 3.
Yeah, and so it'd be cool with number 3 if they retired that number. Like nobody could have number 3 in honor of Dale Earnhardt. That's so
Yeah.
it's sad to hear someones running that number.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no kidding.
especially someone that's not particularly good.
Yeah, Austin Dillon's not. It's because he's Richard Childress' grandson, which isn't a very good reason.
Right. No.
Pick any other number other than 3, because that's Dale Earnhardt.
Is there a
He's-
limit on how big your number can be? Like, can you have 3 digits?
I think the limit is 99. Because they're
So eliminate one number. You have
Eliminate number
98
3.
numbers
You can
to
be
choose from.
03, but don't run the 3. Or change the font.
Is there still a good wrench car?
Does he have this? So is he exactly the same? Sorry.
It's the same number, like the exact same number Earnhardt was running,
Right.
font and everything.
Oh,
But he
so
was-
it's identical.
like the number and everything. The sponsors are different, but the number,
But yeah, it's the same number, same font, like everything in regard to the numbers.
exact same thing.
Yeah,
That's
that's too
horrible.
far. In
Yeah.
my opinion, that would be too far.
You would think as a driver you would respect and honor that memory enough to not do that.
Yeah, change the number or give it to someone who is actually worth something, like Kyle Busch. You know,
If anybody should have ran it, should have been
Dale Earnhardt
Junior.
Jr.
he didn't want to.
Really?
I mean, I understand
Oh,
why,
yeah,
but if anybody
that's
would,
right. That makes
if anybody would not have looked down on somebody, it would have been his son. You
Yeah.
know?
He still runs it in the late model series
Is Junior retired?
from full time in the Cup series, but he still runs like he has his own late model team where he runs. He runs like every once in a while.
Okay. But yeah, that seems like a situation where they should retire the number. I agree with that. Retiring that number.
Yep.
Or like you said, at minimum, don't like copy it exactly.
Change the font or something.
Yeah, change the font even. at minimum.
Like when I see that number, like on somebody's back windshield of their car, I'm gonna think of Dale Earnhardt. I'm not gonna think
Yeah.
of Austin Dillon.
Right, right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
The Intimidator, man.
Right.
So does anybody run 87?
I don't think so.
Okay,
Why
because
80 why
that would be
87?
my number. It's just the number. Like when I did autocross and drifting and stuff, you know, you have to put a number on your car. I always did 87. So
Is it because of the year you were born?
you don't have to tell people that. Now everyone's gonna know I'm old.
You're younger than I am.
I'm going to ask a mature question here.
Okay.
Is anybody 69?
No. That'd be funny.
Oh, so not nice.
Especially if they ran the race in reverse.
All right.
Should is that the cue to take the exit?
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's
Is there a number
superstition.
13?
They used to be.
Oh.
What
That's like
about-
the number you
What about an 11?
Yeah, it's Denny Hamlin.
Oh, so no good.
No good.
What about 30?
There's no 30 car.
There's no 30 car?
Not anymore.
Those are my 3 go-to numbers. What about 7? Didn't there used to be a Jim Beam 7?
Yeah, Robbie Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
No relation to Jeff Gordon.
No longer?
No.
Is there a 7 still?
No.
So all my numbers are either bad person or not used.
Yeah.
You 69. Nobody's
Yeah,
using
there you
it.
go. No, would 69 be the number for the PMS car? Or is that just
That would
wrong?
be hilarious.
That would-
Yeah.
Adding on to it.
What about 4?
yeah.
4 is a good number.
There's a 4?
Mhm.
Who's that?
Josh Berry. Used to be Kevin Harvick, but he retired.
Is there still an STP car?
The 43 car is a Toyota now. And they used to be sponsored by STP.
Uh-huh. Because it used to be Richard Petty, right?
Yeah. But I don't know. I stopped paying attention to them since they switched to Toyota.
They're an 81?
Is there? There used to be.
I'm thinking of all numbers that are significant in my
A lot
life.
of those numbers have been not raced in like 20 years.
So we have like a good choice of numbers
You have
when
a
we
good
start
choice,
our team.
Yeah, of course.
69. We're going to have PMS. We're going to have pigeons on it. We're going to have
Oh yeah,
PMS Pigeon Pizza.
we have a mascot,
Yeah.
Petey the pigeon.
yeah.
Birds aren't real, Richard.
They're not real. But did you watch last week's episode? Oh man,
I need
birds
to.
aren't real, bro.
Neither are pandas.
And pandas are spies from China.
The moon's not real either.
The moon's made of cheese and it's hollow.
Oh, God.
No, it's a satellite. It's a Chinese weather
It's a satellite covered in cheese, so that the
Chinese weather
signals
balloon.
bounce off of it. It absorbs the impact and bounces it back. I guess that would be the opposite. It wouldn't absorb and bounce back. It would one or the other.
Who put the moon up there, though?
Who put the moon up there? I know who put the moon up there.
China.
See,
Well,
he knows
we-
what's up. He knows what's up.
I think the NASCAR missed the exit to the pit lane and took a turn
Little-
to conspiracy corner
A
here.
little too much exhaust went into the cab of the car. I'm telling you, man. We talked about it last week. New Mexico, birds are spies.
If it flies, it dies.
Flies it dies.
Even butterflies?
What?
Butterflies.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. They
Those are
die.
ninjas.
Butterflies are ninjas.
Those are hinges.
No, ninjas.
Ninjas.
Oh,
ninjas.
ninjas.
Ninjas are butterflies. Therefore, butterflies are ninjas.
I thought you said hinges.
But
I'm
you
like,
said
I mean,
anything
it's kind
that
of a
flies
hinge.
dies.
No, just
If it
birds.
flies, it dies.
Birds.
Birds are drones.
That's why they
Birds
charge
aren't
on
real.
power lines.
Exactly. Did you hear what we were talking about with when they dive in front of cars? You ever driven down the highway and they dive in front of your car?
No.
You've never seen that?
I've seen that. It's never happened to me, though.
Okay. It's because they're malfunctioning and they're diving in front of the car to
Self-destruct.
brake and self-destruct. It's because it's too obvious if they just blow up.
Yeah.
Like,
So they're self-destruct. Yeah, programming. Fly in front of a car, hit it, you're done. Boom.
Yeah. Could you imagine just you're hanging out at a park and a bird just. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't work.
Right.
You just sit there and you're like, huh,
Interesting.
okay.
so are the true birds like turkeys and kiwis and stuff like that, ones that can't fly?
Those are fine.
Yeah,
What
So
about
those
the
are
dodo?
actual birds.
some of them, they could be like sound reconnaissance because you're not.
That's why we eat them at Thanksgiving.
Oh, we eat them at Thanksgiving. That way we verify which ones are real and which ones are not real. You have to kill them and eat them. Chickens, turkeys,
And
quail.
Nobody
That's-
ever eaten a dove or a pigeon.
Yeah. You'll need a pigeon.
That's so sad.
That's why pigeons are used for the air
So-
I
reconnaissance.
eat quail eggs.
On purpose?
Yeah.
All right.
Wow. It
She also,
sounds.
she also eats cat food.
Oh my gosh. It sounds like the punishment a long time ago where they're like, "You're a witch. We're gonna throw you in this water. If you find a way out of the water, you're a witch. But if you drown, you're not a witch."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It's great.
she's
So
dead.
birds are just
Guess she
screwed.
wasn't a witch.
It's a shame
well.
she's dead now.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Lesson learned.
Well, there's our exit.
Nothing else? Nothing else?
No, I don't got anything else. Do you?
Right.
have anything?
Shake and bake.
Shake and bake. Appreciate
and
you
bake.
coming, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a good time. I have to have you on again.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Like, subscribe, share, tell your friends about us. Buy some merch. Breakcheck.com, breakchk.com. Can you what?
Can I do like a when they just get out of the car, like they're talking about their sponsors and stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, go for it.
Let me just say that the PMS Ford Mustang today was pretty good. We got the win, and let's go racing next week. Get another one.
Woo! PMS!
All right.
Shake and bake.
See y'all next week.
Take it easy.